Astronomers keep pushing their instruments farther into space. New galaxies appear. More distant light arrives. The map of the cosmos grows larger. Then, something unexpected happens. The expansion stops feeling unlimited. Every star ever recorded, every galaxy ever photographed, every distant object humanity has managed to observe falls inside the same boundary. Not a wall hanging in space, not a physical barrier, but a horizon. Beyond it, nothing new can be seen because no information has reached us. That changes the picture immediately. What looked like the universe now looks like a region, a finite observable zone surrounded by an unknown beyond. The sky does not suddenly go dark. Telescopes do not stop working. But every observation acquires a new limit. The consequence is difficult to ignore. For centuries, the universe and the visible universe seemed interchangeable. Then the horizon changes the meaning of the map. Everything humanity has ever observed suddenly shrinks. The universe does not become larger. The visible portion becomes smaller. What looked like the universe starts looking like a region inside something potentially much greater. And one possibility refuses to disappear. Is this horizon only a temporary limit? Or is something permanently hidden from view? The obvious solution is to wait, build larger telescopes, collect fainter light, push observation deeper into space. If something exists beyond the horizon, eventually it should come into view. For a while, that assumption seems reasonable. Then the horizon behaves in a way nobody wants. As astronomers track the expansion of the universe, some distant regions are carried farther and farther away. The gap does not merely remain large, it keeps growing. Light from those regions is still traveling. It is still moving through space, but the destination keeps retreating. The result is not a temporary delay, it is a loss of access. Future observatories can become more sensitive. They can gather weaker signals and reveal objects that are currently invisible. But some regions are pushed so far away that their future light never reaches Earth at all. No upgrade fixes that. No larger mirror fixes that. No future generation of technology changes the outcome. Entire portions of reality move beyond observation itself. The old assumption begins to collapse. The problem is no longer that humanity lacks powerful enough instruments. The problem is that some information may never arrive. What first looked like a horizon waiting to be crossed starts looking very different. Some regions may be permanently unreachable. And yet a difficult problem immediately appears. If no observation can ever reach those regions, what reason is there to think they exist in the first place? The conclusion seems obvious. If no signal can ever arrive, perhaps there is nothing there. Perhaps the horizon is not hiding part of the universe. Perhaps the horizon is the end of it. For a moment, the simplest explanation appears to be the most reasonable one. The argument immediately runs into a problem. If some regions of the universe are forever beyond observation, then any claim about them sounds dangerously close to guesswork. A horizon alone does not prove that more space exists beyond it. Then a strange clue refuses to go away. The oldest visible light in the universe keeps revealing the same pattern. Regions separated by enormous distances look unexpectedly alike. They appear to share a common history. The problem is that they should not, at least not easily. The distances involved seem too large for those regions to have coordinated their behavior. Yet the similarity remains. A proposed process called inflation offers a possible answer. Instead of beginning far apart, those regions may once have occupied a much smaller volume of space. The separation visible today may not reflect how the story began. Instead of beginning as distant regions, those areas could have started much closer together before space expanded dramatically. The visible consequence is still written across the sky. Regions that seem disconnected now carry signs of an earlier connection. For the first time, the hidden universe stops looking like speculation alone. The observable universe behaves as though it emerged from something larger than the region currently visible from Earth, which creates a new expectation. If that larger reality is real, should it eventually become observable? The idea becomes difficult to ignore. One mystery starts explaining another. The early universe looks unexpectedly uniform. Inflation offers a mechanism for that. At the same time, it provides a reason to suspect that the observable universe is only part of something much larger. For a moment, the path forward appears clear. If inflation predicts additional space beyond the horizon, then future evidence should eventually reveal it. The hidden regions may be distant, but distance alone has never stopped astronomy before. Then the prediction is examined more closely. The same expansion that stretches space to enormous scales also separates regions from one another. Entire portions of the larger universe are carried so far away that no future signal from them can ever arrive. The effect is not temporary. No delayed message is on the way. No ancient light is still crossing the gap. The connection itself disappears. Suddenly, the situation changes. For centuries, difficult observations eventually yielded to better instruments. The assumption had become almost automatic. If something exists, keep looking long enough, and it will eventually appear. The theory becomes most ambitious precisely where direct confirmation becomes impossible. The larger universe is not merely difficult to observe. Some of the regions it predicts are permanently cut off from observation. The expectation that evidence and direct access will eventually meet begins to fail. Astronomers find themselves confronting a strange boundary. On one side are observable consequences that can be measured. On the other side are predicted regions that can never send information back. The collapse is uncomfortable but unavoidable. Direct verification does not disappear because the idea lacks consequences. It disappears because the same framework that predicts more space also predicts that some of that space can never communicate with Earth, which leaves a difficult challenge still unresolved. Can science continue operating when observation itself reaches a permanent boundary? The boundary does not disappear. Telescopes improve. Measurements become more precise. Predictions are tested against new observations. The process continues exactly as science has always operated. What changes is the nature of the limit. Science has faced invisible things before. Atoms were not accepted because they were seen directly. Black holes were not accepted because someone photographed them first. Predictions came first. Evidence followed. Cosmology continues using the same logic. They test the consequences that remain accessible. A prediction is made, the observable universe is examined. The results either match or they do not. The larger framework survives because its local predictions continue meeting observation. At the same time, some of its implications remain permanently beyond reach. That is the final shift. The obstacle is no longer technology. It is not a missing instrument, a weak signal, or an engineering problem waiting for a solution. The barrier is causality itself. Some regions cannot be observed because no information from them can ever arrive. The consequence changes the scale of the story completely. The observable universe stops looking like the universe. It becomes a local view, a visible island defined not by the limits of space, but by the limits of communication. Everything humanity has ever observed may occupy only a small, accessible region inside a reality that extends far beyond anything capable of sending a signal back. The horizon remains, not as the edge of the universe, but as the edge of what the universe allows us to know. The unsettling possibility is that the vast majority of reality may exist on the other side of that boundary. Not hidden, not lost, simply beyond anything that can ever communicate with us.